Welcome. Well, my task today is in about 15 minutes is to kind of share with you some of the cool things that are probably a little bit more easily done in Business Central than your current accounting system. So the first thing is, we're going to cover a couple topics. Why is it the ideal solution, right? So, well, data conversion. So depending on the modules that you have, we have an easy button migration for many clients. So if you don't need to change your chart of account structure, if you don't need to change your vendors or customers, if you have items and they're under 20 digits, there's a specific prescription. We can use the easy button to do your push button conversion. But perhaps you've been in a business a long time and your business has evolved. Maybe it's time to review all of those data structures. Then we can surely extract that data efficiently out of either SL or GP. And we can translate that to what the new structures or values should be in Business Central and get you up and running in both the test and the production environment. When we think about updates and things of that nature, having to pay to have year-end updates so that you can do your 1099 processing, your W-2 processing, that's kind of a thing of the past. The system's just constantly updated in a SaaS environment, and you'll get to take advantage of the latest technological efficiencies should you be ready to, but they'll be available. The system's updated every month, and new features are coming out all the time. And so let's talk about some of the things that make it scalable and flexible. The integration with Office and Excel, in a few minutes, you're going to see me provide a presentation on to that effect. Business Central shares a common data platform, so it integrates a lot more easily and seamlessly with CRM. Obviously, you can do that today with GP and SL. You can integrate those with CRM, but it's a lot more complicated. It's a lot easier with Business Central and cloud-based products. You're also going to have the advantage of, you're also going to be able to customize the software the way you want to do business. And historically, when we'd implemented SL and GP, we would kind of shy away from customization because you'd be concerned with things like, well, is this going to affect my upgrade path? So we're not, with the way that software is written today, we create extensions or customizations, and they are also then going to be easily maintained with each of the updates that Microsoft does automatically for you in the back end, so we're not as concerned about that. And as far as having advanced capabilities, Business Central is packed with advanced capabilities, but if you need additional capabilities, there's a ready marketplace that you can connect your Business Central with. So, and you're going to see examples of that later on in the presentation. You're going to see Solver and eBizCharge. Those companies are available on the marketplace, and they can plug right into Business Central. As far as modern access and insights, it's just so easy to assign somebody a Business Central license. So your IT group is already assigning Office licensing, Excel, Outlook. They use that same location to assign the license, so much more centralized, and so IT likes it for those reasons as well. You've been looking at some other advantages of Business Central. You have all of the modules. Business Central has all of the accounting modules that you would expect to at your fingertips. You're going to have GL, AP, AR, bank rec, purchasing, inventory, and the like. But then Business Central also comes with some advanced capabilities for manufacturing and field service and project-oriented organizations. And so we're going to take a little bit of a quick look at some of that. So here's an example of Power BI. So Business Central comes with Power BI, and you can connect Power BI today with your GP and SL, and maybe some of you have already, and we're probably helping you with some of that. But with Business Central, every module that you see listed here, including field service, it comes with, I guess, a Power Pack, a Power BI pack. And so this is just an example of 12 reports that come with just the financial areas. So it just really provides you a way to quickly manage your operations. If you have field service operations, if you have a need to track your customers' equipment or the items and you provide them service, then Business Central has a field service module for you. You can track the service history and the parts used over the life of your customer's equipment. You can use the historical service data and analyze it and advise your clients whether it would be more beneficial for them to replace the equipment or repair the equipment. You can create agreements with your customers and define labor or parts warranty rules. And of course, that's going to all flow into the billing for the work that you do. You can track your technician or your resources skill sets, and you can use them to assign your resources to the correct jobs. Obviously, it's got the ability to create different preventive maintenance schedules and assign different customers and contracts and items to those schedules and help you kind of create and schedule those jobs across your field team. And then if you combine the Business Central field service with the CRM field service, since that information gets shared back and forth between the two platforms, you can then easily assign on a digital dashboard, you can assign any work orders that are created, and your technicians complete their work in the field from a tablet. They can issue inventory and record that right in the field. They can take pictures of their work, and then all of that information then comes back, and you're able to then invoice that for the work that your technicians have done. It has a great foundation for manufacturing and distribution. So as I mentioned, there's sales quoting, sales ordering, sales invoicing, deep inventory, procurement, and then everything around the manufacturing modules. So it's got make to order, it's got make to stock. It does serial and lot tracking. You can do nested bill of materials. You can set up machine centers and work centers as you do it, and then you can create the routing so that the production order flows through the system, and you can record your consumption and your activities against those production orders in real time if you so choose. You could backflush the consumption and create your finished goods after a production run is finished. And it works readily with common barcoding solutions. And Business Central also has a warehousing module, so all of the where do I pick my raw material from, or does all of my finished goods, do they need to go back on the shelf, or do they go directly to fulfillment? All of those rules can be set up. And then lastly, in terms of the advanced modules, we should be talking about project. And so for our customers that use the project series, whether it would be to track your memberships or your grants or maybe their billable projects, you can continue to do that in Business Central. You can track those projects against the task and then create a budget against it. Your managers can then review that budget versus actual and have drill-down capability. And then if you need to, you can bill your customers for the different types of work, whether it be time material, fixed fee, or milestone billing. And then you can recognize the revenue based upon the modern revenue recognition methods as well. So now we're going to get into a little bit of a demo, and I'm going to demonstrate a little bit about the integration between Business Central and CRM, and then we'll get into some AI capabilities too. So some of you may have not seen BC before, so I just want to give you a quick overview before I show you some of the integrations with the Microsoft ecosystem. So when you log into Business Central, you're logging in with your email account. And what you'll see here is it is part of the Microsoft suite of apps, so all of your Microsoft tools, Excel, Word, and other things are available right here. And at the top here, I can quickly see my customers, my vendors, the chart of accounts, and other setup areas. And then from a transaction standpoint, if I wanted to do journal entries, I would come here. If I wanted to enter customer invoices or cash receipts, I'd come here, and then I'd click on the purchasing menu if I wanted to create those types of activities. So it's very intuitive, and then down below here, you can see what's going on in the business. So I can quickly see some cue cards, so I can see quotes and orders and invoices that need to be processed, and when I click on them, it gives me the details related to that. But one of the things that I think that everybody likes is that every screen has this share button on here, and if I click on this and I click on open in Excel, then I immediately get that file downloaded. So again, that's just an example of the tight integration between Business Central and Excel. So every screen does that. So I know SL, you may have a quick query and you may be able to export reports, but it's a lot more efficient. And then with my GP users, you might be using Smart Connect. But again, you have to navigate to those specific areas in the screens to get the same behavior. We can get this from any screen within Business Central. So every setup or every report screen in Business Central will be able to export easily. So you probably also noticed that when I clicked on the share button, I can click share to Teams. And so I can actually send a message to an individual and tell them to look at an invoice or look at a list, and then they'll be able to comment back. And so right from their Teams, they would be able to then click on that message and it would open Business Central up to the placeholder that I gave them. So I just think that that's pretty fantastic functionality. Another example of or demonstration of having tight integration between Business Central and the Office products is an Outlook. So here I have an invoice that I've received from a vendor. This is my external email address here, and you can see that there's a sample invoice here. And it looks something like this. So we'll go back to the presentation. So almost pulled it off, but you did see the integration between Excel and Teams, and we can actually enter transactions directly from Outlook. We're going to give that another chance here in a minute. And I wanted to talk a little bit about Power Automate. So many of you probably have transactions that you import using transaction import, or maybe you use Smart Connect. You can actually replace, you'll be able to keep that same functionality, but we use a tool called Power Automate to do that. And so Power Automate basically is one of those tools that's in your when you're logged into Business Central or Outlook or whatever, you would get the Power Automate, and you can create these flows that can connect to the files. And so every time then you get another file, whether it be a payroll file, maybe a bank transaction file, you can process that in just as a more efficient manner than you are with transaction import. So now we're going to talk about the advanced AI capabilities that come with Business Central. And you've probably heard the term Copilot and AI. Well, BC allows users to utilize a Copilot to search for help, and it can also be used to create reports. But BC also provides kind of this next generation of AI called agents, agentic capabilities. And what agentic capabilities do is it allows an agent to be assigned to perform a task, such as monitoring an inbox and suggesting the creation of customer quotes or customer orders or customer invoices, or suggesting the creation of accounts payable invoices. And I say suggesting because it's really your assistant, and it still requires, the way the agents are set up today, they still require somebody to review what the agent is suggesting and kind of approve it before it's actually going to become part of the accounting system. So I am going to demonstrate some of that. So as I mentioned, an agent can, well, actually what I want to do is I want to start with the reporting aspect of this first. So over here we have Copilot, and I can ask Copilot a question. So in preparation for this, I asked Copilot to find me all the item ledger entries and report on those items by fiscal year. So I can click on the analysis tab here, and it's going to create that. And so I could actually do this manually, but what's nice about Copilot is it starts to create that for me. So I can kind of see what it produced. So it kind of gave me the items and the quantity. But then I said, you know what? I needed a little bit more information. I really want you to show me the items in the row, but I want the years in the column. So I can ask it to do that. And that's not too bad. And then I want to, but you know what? I want to see the revenue as well. I don't see any revenue, so it's going to show me the revenue. So now I have some revenue. And then as I scroll across here, I see there's a lot of $0 items. So what I want to do is I wanted to remove all those $0 items. So then this is kind of the report that I was hoping for. Now I can see by year all of the total quantity, as well as the dollar amount for the item sold in descending order, and then I can expand this and it'll show me which customers that bought those different areas. If I like this report, I can click keep it, and I can give it a name and so that I can come right back to it without having to go through Copilot again. But hopefully this is a great example of how we can use AI to create a report for us against the data sets that we expose it to. We'll hide Copilot there. And now we're going to show an example of processing the agentic abilities. So up in the left-hand corner here, you see that I have a payables agent. So what we have going on here is my agent is, I am actually sending invoices to an email address called bcpayables@intellitechsolutions.com. And the agent is monitoring that location, and it'll read everything in there, and it'll suggest the transaction that it should create. So if I bring this up, so in this, with the particular invoice that was in that email that we just looked at is all of these details here for a particular, that's on the invoice. And so if I come back here and I bring this open here, what the agent's going to do is it's going to show me everything that still needs to be processed and everything that's already been processed. So I have a complete audit trail of everything that's been done. But then if I just click on these here, what it's done is it's come into the inbox and it's ready to be reviewed. So the agent has kind of done that work, and it's created this box over here. So I can see that it's coded this entire invoice with the amounts, and they total up to $21,849.60, just like the amount of the invoice that I flashed up a few minutes ago. And if I want to make a change, I still can. Otherwise, I can hit finalize draft or hit confirm, and that invoice then will be will be then committed to be posted in accounts payable. It also attached that document right into here, it attached the document to the transaction, so that as the transaction is posted, it'll then follow that and be available for lookup later. If I want to look at the next task, right, I can just, so as a workflow, as somebody that's using my Copilot assistant, I simply work through the work here. And so here it's just telling me, hey, I received this message. And the first question it says is, well, is this a valid person? And if I say yes, then I confirm that, then it'll start to analyze and create that transaction. So this is an example of using Copilot as an agent to help me complete my work more efficiently. Okay, so thanks for the opportunity to present just a few of the Business Central's exciting capabilities. BC is an all-encompassing ERP replacement for GP&SL. So when you're ready to move, we hope that you'll reach out to us to discuss that. Moving to the cloud will discard many of the legacy product features of it, such as having to pay for consulting at the end of the year, for product updates, or even for suspended batches. Those are kind of a thing in the past. And in addition to the core modules, there are modules specifically designed for field service, manufacturing, and project accounting. And that allows your employees to service your customers or your members and make the products or manufacture products more effectively, efficiently. We also talked about how Power BI dashboards are available for every module that you would use, and that will help you see better into your company operations. And we also talked about the fact that there's a marketplace that can be accessed that further enhances BC's already deep capabilities. From an interactivity standpoint, BC's connectivity with CRM, Excel, SharePoint, and Teams, it's unmatched. Every screen exports to Excel. Copy and paste is supported throughout the product. So, and then you can replace aging technologies like SL's transaction import, or GP's integration manager, or Smart Connect with Power Automate, you can connect to other systems like CRM. So imagine your sales team seeing invoices created in Business Central while they're in CRM without actually having to integrate them. That's what we're able to do with these technologies. From an AI perspective, we talked about a couple of the capabilities, and they're just going to continue to evolve. So we talked about AI in terms of helping you find help on a screen, how to create and improve your reports. And the AI agents, which today they're kind of like personal assistants, they can be tasked with monitoring emails and creating documents in BC and just making that operation much more efficient. Lastly, BC provides better data entry reporting capabilities and allows you to manage your business more effectively. This will in turn allow you and your employees to better service your customers. I want to thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Mike. So we did have a few questions that came in while you were demonstrating. So I'll go ahead and get started. It says, we use Duo for two-factor on our 365 tenant. Can I assume this will work seamlessly with it the same way our other 365 products do?
You can use MFA with B365, with any of the D365 product lines.
Perfect. Next question. We have a lot of in-house custom applications against SQL. Does your team have experience with the API and or AL and know how full-featured it is?
Yes, that's a great question, and we see that. I manage our Microsoft practice. We have a dedicated area for development, BI. We have a dedicated area for BI, dedicated area for all of the Power Platform components, dedicated CRM team, Business Central team, and the legacy teams, as well as cloud services team. So we have the expertise to write integrations to or from Business Central, and we've done projects involving GP and SL where we've replaced their integrations.
Perfect.
We need to have a deeper conversation. We look forward to having that.
Thanks, Mike. Another question that came in, it says, in Mike's demo, would the user require a full Copilot license?
That, I might ask Brian from assistance on that. Brian, if you're still available. I don't think it requires a Copilot license in terms of like how I would write code in Copilot, but I think that there's there is an additional cost to use Copilot.
One more question before we move on to the survey. It says, regarding the AP invoice GL coding, how does it know what GL coding to use? And does it mine prior invoices from that vendor to make a strong guess which ones to use for the new invoice?
Yeah, that's a good question too. So it is going to look at the history of how you've coded invoices previously. And so if you haven't coded something before, it'll remember that and it'll try to apply that the next time. And I've tested that out.